Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to 15 Good Minutes. It's your guy, Coach B. As always, I'm here with the A-team this week. JR, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Just trying to deal with this weather, which isn't too bad, but don't want that snow. They keep talking about it. We don't need
it. Freddie, what's up, man?
Hey, what's good? Hey, speaking of snow, we got some here out in DFW. They losing their minds out here.
Yeah.
So we're here today, and we're going to just throw something out. Nothing too deep today, because it's that 1 week between the NFC, AFC championship games, which happened last week, and the Super Bowl. And I'll just say it, I've never been a fan of the big 2 week gap between those games and the Super Bowl. I like the momentum, but I guess that's the way it is. Sells tickets, makes money. College is doing it now too. They do it for even a longer period of time, right? So what I don't want to do today is spend a lot of time talking about that, because we can have a show that focuses on the Super Bowl next week. Because we're in February, everybody's going to start seeing some more info and things on the NCAA basketball leagues, and whatnot. And everybody's going to start doing their forecasting. So we're going to just talk briefly today, since it's early February, about the first article that Joe Lunardi of ESPN put out earlier this week. I think he put it out Tuesday. And I'm going to get the guys' opinion, see if they have any thoughts on this. We're only going to focus on the top tier teams right now, to see if you guys are with it or not. So you see, when I bring out the coach's clipboard, basketball season is coming. I haven't had this puppy in my hand for 6 months. It feels good. It's like riding a bike. Okay, so I'm just going to throw it out. You guys feel free to jump in. So right now, today, early February, Joe has as your 4 number 1 seeds, Purdue with the overall number 1 seed, followed by Alabama, Houston, and Tennessee. You with it? Not with it?
I can actually go with Purdue, Alabama, Tennessee, and Houston right now at the moment. Of those 4 teams, I would say Purdue has probably been the most consistent the last 3 to 4 years. And I'm looking at from a program element standpoint, followed by probably Tennessee. Alabama's been up and coming the past couple years in basketball, especially with Kentucky taking a drop this year. Houston, they was in national championship a couple years ago. So right now, early on, going towards conference tournaments and whatnot, I'm okay with those 4 being the top 4. But I don't expect it to remain the same.
Yeah, I'm with you. JR, any thoughts on those 4?
Yeah, I agree. I'm just the same as Freddie. I haven't really been paying a lot of attention to basketball to NCAA this year for different reasons, But I agree with those top 4. I like Purdue.
What I'll say is, I can see where Joe's coming from, but I'm going to tell you who the 4 2 seeds are, and then I'll tell you why I think that Joe's off with those 1 seeds, right? So right now, anyway, he's got the 2 seeds as UCLA, Kansas, Texas, and Arizona. And I believe that when we get to the getting, that Kansas is going to somehow find their way to at least the 1 seed. Not so much because they're the reigning champs, JR, but they seem to do that. They've hit a little bit of a skid and they're coming back. So I believe that they're going to either take out Alabama or Tennessee. If you watch Houston, or let me rephrase that. If you haven't had a chance to watch Houston, go do it. Scott Van Pelt talks about on ESPN. He said it just looked like a bunch of grown men playing against everybody else. They all look like they're 28 years old. They all look like they're tough. It's so much fun to watch them. So I think Houston will hold in one of those top 4, but I think Kansas is going to get in there. Having said that, JR, with those 4 2 seeds, UCLA, Kansas, Texas, Arizona, you see any movement with them? And I know it's early. We're a good 6 weeks away from it really, really mattering. What do you think?
Well, the only one I really don't see staying at number, that's possibly not staying at number 2, is UCLA.
I agree.
So, other than that,
I watched them recently get ousted by USC. Freddie, of those 2 seeds, anybody stand out to you? Are you kind of comfortable with where they're sitting?
I would say UCLA, I could see them improving, and I could see Kansas bumping up to a 1 seed.
I have to give a tip of the cap to Texas being as good as they are, considering what they went through with their leadership change and stuff like that. It would be very easy to lose focus, you know what I mean, not be focused. But I did watch them the other day, and they're playing well, and they're playing well for their coach. So, you know, hats off to those kids for not being distracted by all the negative media attention from their former head coach. Okay, so Freddie, the 3 seeds is where I think it gets really, really wonky here, right? When you look at UVA, Marquette, how about that for Coach Smart? Gonzaga and K-State, Kansas State. Of those 4, you see anybody going up or down?
If there was one that I could say would move up, it would be UVA.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of Tony Bennett.
So one of those, in that regard, though, Freddie, then one of those 8 from either 2 or 1 would have to slide to make room for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, JR, those 4 teams, man, UVA, Marquette, Gonzaga, and K-State, you comfortable with them at 3s, or you see anybody shifting when we get to the time that it counts?
I think there's a possibility of Gonzaga and K-State moving up. Gonzaga's been proving their mettle for the last few years. They haven't won it all, but they've been playing good basketball. You know?
Sure, but isn't Drew Timme 41 years old now? And quite honestly, how long can he keep coming back? I hear what you're saying. I don't think Coach Few has what he has had in the past couple years. And I've watched him a couple times this year. So to your point, Jerry, I'm going to take a look at him over the next month or so. But I could see them falling further. So you think that they're coming back is a testament, I think, to, you know, how well you think, you know, Coach Few does with the people that he has, right?
Just that. And, these, I mean, come on, they fight at the end of the last 30 days of the season before the Final Four. You know, it's going to be a dogfight for team scratching.
I would think they have room to move up based upon their conference more so than anything.
Yeah.
Not
moving up. Moving up is moving up, bro.
Right. But I think that their conference that will be held against them. You know,
I think at some level it almost has to be. And again, I got nothing against that conference. But when I look at, like, you know, Big 10, Big 12, sometimes ACC, I mean, you know, man, everybody is really, really good. Now, if I'm Gonzaga, JR, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm beating whoever you put in front of me. No harm, no foul. I just think at some point they're going to have to get there and then win there. And that's way ahead of what this conversation is about. I'm just looking at the 3 seeds right now. For me, to Freddie's point, UVA is a question mark because I like Bennett, but just like I said, Drew Timme is 41 years old. Who's the young point guard? He got to be at least 38 himself. Little curly haired kid. You know what I'm talking about, Freddie, the point guard. Seemed like he's been there. He was there when they won the chip, by the way, which to me seems like that was at least 4 or 5 years ago. We'll have to look it up. UVA won it all. He was their point guard, right? And he is still their point guard. So
you got the COVID year. You got to remember that.
Yeah, that's true too. I'm most proud though of Marquette and the things that they've been able to get done, particularly because of Coach Smart and, you know, the way that, you know, he felt he had to leave Texas and stuff like that. And then the turmoil that happens at Texas, he comes into Marquette, you know, and in year 2, he's really got him playing really, really hard, and they're getting some real quality wins. I know it's early, a lot can change. But they're doing good. And I just told these guys, for our audience members before we came on air, Kansas State is a 3 seed, and I, for one, just haven't been watching them. And apparently, based on what these guys are telling me, K-State is actually pretty good. So hats off to them. I'm going to wrap up with 2 quick things. And I don't know if you guys have followed this or not, so tell me if you have or you haven't. But right now, Joe Lunardi has 2 mid-majors that he's tracking as the best. One of them is St. Mary's overall, talking about Gonzaga's league. And then he's got Florida Atlantic, because I think they're either a 1-loss or no-loss team right now, but they're not overall as good as St. Mary's. So from a mid-major perspective, you comfortable with those 2, JR? Is there somebody else you would introduce today based on what you've seen? And I know it's a limited sample size.
No, I think that's about right. I think it is.
So you're the best of the mid-majors. Now, when you get into the tournament as a 12 seed, 10 seed, or whatever,
13,
you know, whatever the case may be. So then now we're going to see, just like how Florida Gulf Coast did a few years back, you know. So now we're gonna
Chicago. What was it? Loyola, Chicago at one point. With Sister Jean,
whoever, and they've been
Jean.
riding that wave for like past, she's still.
I love that though. That's what makes this sport so much fun, man.
It makes it fun, and it makes other better players want to come to those schools.
Last thing I'm gonna ask you guys, I'm gonna give you 1, 2, 3. I've got 6 teams that are classified as notable bubble teams that today are on the bubble. Of the 6, I want you to give me one that is going to make it into the round of 64. All right, so I'm gonna start with you, GR. The 6 teams currently on the bubble: Kentucky, Arizona State, Maryland, Memphis, Texas A&M, and Wisconsin.
Wow, that's tough.
Give me one that you say is going to break through. I don't care why.
Kentucky.
Fair enough. Freddie, same 6. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Kentucky because I know of all 6 of those teams, Kentucky has the most talent.
I think the league likes Kentucky. I think the NCAA likes Kentucky. I think the tournament likes Kentucky. And just last weekend, they played a really good game against Kansas, even though, Kansas was able to pull away from them. So I agree with you guys. And so, like we said at the top of the show, what we're going to do, we're going to come back around conference tournament time and take a look at what we picked here. I suspect we're going to see a lot of changes, Freddie. This whole thing is like, throwing darts at a board from double the regular distance. There's so much parity in NCAA basketball that it wouldn't be a shock to see one of those 3 seeds rise up to a 1, or one of those 1 seeds go down to a 4 or 5. It's the nature of the game. So we'll see how that goes. And like I said, we'll come back next weekend with a little more depth on what we suspect to happen in the Super Bowl. Before we wrap up, any of you guys got something to say for our segment? I got something to say this week.
Not this week for me.
Nothing for JR. Freddie, you got something to say?
I got something to say.
Go with it, Freddie. You're on the clock. 60 seconds.
It's not sports related, but it was more so what happened in Memphis, Tennessee, with those police officers against Tyree. I forget his last name, but it was totally awful. It literally, in my opinion, and I told several people that I spoke with over the weekend, to me, it was worse than Rodney King. You have 5 African-American men doing, those things to another African-American man. It was very disturbing, and the name of that the Scorpion unit or whatever the case, it was very disturbing, and it was just a hurtful thing to see, and it bothered me. We had a barbershop conversation Saturday morning about it, and it was if you haven't seen it, it was awful, and it was just uncalled for. So I can go deeper. I only got 60 seconds. I don't know how much time I burnt, speaking on that, but
it was a good 120 seconds, but well worth it. I think that is a perfect I got something to say segment on our way out. Condolences to his family. It's bad all around, and I concur with Freddie. Just not a good look. Very difficult to watch. Just all around bad. So we'll end on that, give you guys something to think about. Hopefully we'll see you guys back here next week as we get ready for the Super Bowl between Philadelphia and Kansas City. Got a couple of good threads that we're going to look at for that game. We'll get you guys ready for that. Until then, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.